Welcome to the Getting Divorced Without Losing Your Mind podcast with Corey Shapiro. Quote, for the first 20 years of my life, I wanted freedom. For the next 25 years, I wanted order. For the next 25 years, I realized that order is freedom. That's from Winston Churchill. In divorce news, the CEO of software company Zoho, you may know their main product, Zoho Office Suites. He's in a big time nasty divorce with his wife of almost 30 years. Apparently, she's alleging that he manipulated ownership of the company. I think gave some shares to his family members. The case has been ongoing for 2 years. The reason I bring it up, I saw this Forbes article about the case, and it's a perfect example, a masterclass of the concept of pre-suasion, which is from Professor Robert Cialdini. If you read his book, Pre-suasion, lawyers call this building a frame. But as this case is pending, basically getting the public opinion on her side by doing this one-sided Forbes article. Very interesting. I'll put it in the show notes. And if you want to see how it's done at a highest level, check it out. It's unclear why the wife feels the need to basically destroy her husband's character, though she may feel she has no other choice. All right, question. How does alcohol addiction impact custody issues? Well, first of all, negotiating custody for most people who are in court, if you're in court, it's difficult. Custody's priceless. Everything else can have a price. Unfortunately, when you throw alcohol or other substance abuse issues, it complicates negotiations. And the court is so protective of the safety of the children that they're not really going to take any chances. They're going to be conservative. They're going to be cautious. So they take these issues very seriously. There's two paths I see. There may be more than one or more than two. First, you can either deny or admit. Let's do the deny path. But if no one believes you, you're probably going to have to do some type of an assessment. You're going to have some type of expert that can vouch for you that this person doesn't have this problem. And people make up allegations all the time. Unfortunately, I've been in cases where people have made up even sexual abuse allegations, and we've gotten an expert and then the expert denied it. But, sometimes when you make an allegation like in that Forbes article, it just taints you throughout that whole proceeding. And that's the game, right? Okay, so let's say you deny and you're okay. You might want to build a counterframe, though, if they come after you and you are totally don't have any issues. And, in this type of case, if someone's trying to interfere with your custody, it doesn't take a rocket science to understand that they're really just trying to interfere over nothing. And it happens all the time. And maybe a forensic can uncover the factors. If there is interference, and this was just a ploy raising a non-issue, the court takes that seriously too. So you got to be careful when you make allegations in the court. All right, so let's say you have the admit path. You don't want to go through this whole process. You have an issue. You admit it. First of all, the judge is going to like that. You take ownership. Not all judges, but I think it's going to be positive. You're taking ownership. You're trying to get into recovery. You see maybe the problems it has caused your marriage. And what you're in store for is a couple things. You're going to get these urine tests, these blood tests. You're going to learn about SoberLink monitoring, which is basically like a remote breathalyzer where they can check, for parenting time if you're sober. And you might even have supervised parenting time with a professional. I wouldn't necessarily balk at supervised. Sometimes you use someone who's casual, but in the beginning, you might want a professional. The only problem is it's costly. So your time is going to be very limited, but you want to have some independent evidence because these people can write a report to give to the court that you're doing things right. That you are okay, that you come on time, that you're acting appropriately. And after a period of time, I'm not sure how long, every judge is different. It's not going to be a week. It could be 3 months. I've seen it 6 months, a year, whatever the judge thinks appropriate. You'll probably move into a more typical, custody parenting situation. But I would really take it seriously. And it is tough because the court's balancing, your rights as a parent against the safety of the child. All right, positive perspective. Are you feeling overwhelmed by the issues in your divorce? I'm assuming that's why you're listening to this podcast. Well, whether you're going through a divorce or, balancing work and family with your divorce, even if it's a high conflict divorce or even if it's a collaborative divorce, you're going to realize you have a lot on your plate, right? It's like becoming from single to being a parent, and you have to become more efficient. And if you're interested in increasing your productivity, but you don't have the headspace, you don't have the time to read a book on this, as clients have told me, you might want to consider a couple things. First of all, the king in the productivity space is David Allen. And maybe many of you have heard of Getting Things Done, but many of you are put off by it. It just seems too complicated. So many different steps. This guy's a nerd. How can I deal with all this? I can't even do, one thing. How am I going to do everything he suggests? And I agree with you. It may be a lot, at least initially, but I have to say, he's a teacher and he came up with a system like other people I have talked about in this podcast, like communication. That's, Marshall Rosenberg for relationships. That's Gottman. And when you get into a little bit, it actually makes a lot of sense. It's very simple. And his, I think, genius is just categorizing something that is sort of obvious. We do it normally when we're coming from our best selves. So if you don't want to read the book, but you want to get going in the right way, I would suggest taking the course. There's a course that was just recently done by Crucial Learning. It's nice. It's on demand. It's, I think, about 4 hours. You could do it over time. I think they give you 60 days to do it. And it really will give you a great head start. If the price point bothered you, and it bothered me, then I would suggest his workbook, not his main book, but his workbook. It was, I think, done or revised in 2019. What I liked about it is there's a lot of outline, so you can skim through it. And then there's video links, so you can watch videos. It's like a hybrid multimedia. I mean, David Allen was on doing video for 20 years. I mean, he's ahead of the curve. He's a pioneer. He's a visionary. So amazing stuff out there. And then if you feel the course is too much, I don't even have 4 hours, and you just want to tiptoe into the area, he has a membership site. It's $29 a month. Check it out. So much information, so much value. I think it will take you a little bit more time to really learn everything, and you might feel like there's so much to learn, but there is a getting started section, and there's a lot of webinars, audio, a private, premium podcast he did, and it really can get you going in the right way. And I do think if you're going through a divorce, you're going to have to really be more productive if you're going to be able to commit what needs to be committed to achieve your goals. Okay, now remember, this podcast is only for informational use. So before taking any action, you're going to consult with an experienced divorce attorney in your jurisdiction. Be creative, not reactive. Until next time.